Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On 28 October 1915, the Department of the Navy officially transferred Marine Corps recruit training to Parris Island. Among the first 750 Marines sent to Parris Island were the depot's first bandmaster, drum major, and a group of musicians from which the Parris Island Marine Band was formed. The musicians also doubled as marksmanship instructors, close combat instructors, and provided support for various units aboard the depot. A field music school was also established to train Marine musicians prior to their assignment to individual bands throughout the fleet. Today, the Parris Island Marine Band is one of the premier military bands in America. It consists of 50 members under the direction of the band officer, Chief One Officer 2 Giove, the bandmaster, Master Sergeant Duguid, the enlisted conductor, Staff Sergeant Moore, the drum major, Master Sergeant Wilson, and the small ensemble leader, Gunnery Sergeant Knuckles. The band travels throughout the United States, providing music for military ceremonies, community relation events, recruiting programs, and other official events. They also have the ability to perform at several specialty ensembles, such as ceremonial band, concert band, jazz ensemble, show band, and brass quintet, to name a few. While required to maintain a high degree of musical performance skills, these band members are above all else Marines, and must remain capable of assuming the task common to all those Marines, those of a basic Marine rifleman. The band's heritage dates back to the whistling fives and rolling drums of the first Marines' music back in 1775, and upholds a tradition of excellence and service to Corps and country, which is a proud legacy to all Marines. Ladies and gentlemen, the Parris Island Marine Band. Present-day parades in the Marine Corps have their basis in both history and tradition. The massed formation of troops on one long line at close interval made possible the massing of firepower from muzzle-loaded muskets of yesterday. In those early days, the line of battle was just that, a line of 2 or 3 ranks, and looked much like the parade formation that you are about to see today. The adjutant forms a line for battle. The Marine marching across the parade deck is Staff Sergeant Mormon. He is a parade adjutant and will very shortly give the command to begin the ceremony. His position when he halts indicates where the right flank of the formation will rest. Once positioned, he will draw his sword and supervise the placement of the formation. The term devil dog is used today as a friendly reference between Marines, but the nickname has a proud history. It was first given to the Marines by German troops who fought against them at the Battle of Belleau Wood during World War I. In 1921, Major General Smedley Butler introduced the first bulldog as a Marine mascot. Now entering the parade deck is Parris Island's own devil dog, Legend. Legend is an English bulldog who enlisted in the Marine Corps on the 1st of October 2011. He reported for recruit training on the 7th of October and graduated on the 4th of November. Legend's handler is Lance Corporal Stacy of the Headquarters and Service Battalion. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander of Troops, First Sergeant Kimbrell.
Stand! Forward!
The staff for today's parade is comprised of officers and drill instructors from the 2nd Recruit Training Battalion.
Stand! Senator, face!
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. The chaplain of the 2nd Recruit Training Battalion, Lieutenant J.G. Laker, United States Navy, will deliver the invocation.
Oh God, as we gather together today, we give you thanks for giving us the courage, strength, and patience necessary to accomplish the goal of becoming the United States Marines. Working through our diversity of cultures and personalities, you have forged us into a team. Thank you for seeing us through the physical, emotional, and spiritual trials of training. You have blessed us with loving families and friends who have supported us while we're here. Thank you for bringing us in to share this special moment with us. We pray that you will continue to watch over them and us, our Corps, and our country, now and forever. Amen.
Marines have served aboard Parris Island since 1891, and more than 1 million Marines have been trained here. They have departed Parris Island for combat in conflicts throughout the world. The misty wheat fields of Belleau Wood, the gritty beaches of the Pacific, the snow-capped mountains of Korea, the sweltering jungles of Vietnam, the parched desert sands of Kuwait, Iraq, and Afghanistan, and every other clime and place where Marines have sacrificed for country and Corps. The first called upon, the first to arrive, and the first to fight. The Marine Corps, the nation's force in readiness, has answered the call to numerous hotspots around the globe, showing the world once again that the United States Marine Corps is America's premier 911 force. Marching on to the parade ground is Company E. They began their training on February 17, 2015, and today's graduation marks the end of a demanding and difficult 12 weeks of training for them. These young men you see marching before you have met and mastered the challenge of recruit training. They have qualified with the service rifle and received basic warrior training. They have completed over 200 hours of academic instruction and participated in a rigorous physical training program that has developed their strength and stamina for the challenges ahead. Core values has been instilled in each of them: the meaning of honor, courage, and commitment. Marching before you this morning are 243 success stories, each of them a testament to the physical courage, dogged determination, and unyielding commitment to excellence that defines the title Marine. This is what they have striven and persevered for: the right to walk across this parade deck as Marines. They have earned this title through demonstrated courage and achievement, and now join the proud ranks of over 1 million Marines who have graduated from Parris Island. From this day on, they will carry on the proud legacy and history of the United States Marine Corps. Ladies and gentlemen, the Marines of Company E. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove all hats for the playing of our national anthem. The parade adjutant now presents a command to the commander of troops, indicating that the parade is formed.
All present or accounted for.
At the command, officers center march. All unit commanders and guidon bearers march to the front and center of the formation. Historically, it was at this point that the commanding officers would issue orders and instructions to the unit commanders. Following this, the unit commanders would face about, return to their units, and pass the information on to their Marines. Throughout our nation's history, millions of men and women have earned the title United States Marine, in keeping with the slogan, once a Marine, always a Marine, we would like to recognize them. We ask that those men and women in the audience who have served in the United States Marine Corps please rise. Please join us in showing our appreciation for their dedicated service to Corps and country. Thank you. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the commanding officer of the 2nd Recruit Training Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Danielson.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of our Commanding General, Brigadier General Williams, welcome to Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Parris Island, and a graduation ceremony for Company E. The purpose of this morning's ceremony is to recognize these Marines' information and what they've accomplished to reach this day. You know, they arrived here about 13 weeks ago, give or take. You were just a collection of individuals from all different parts of the country and all different walks of life. They leave here today as United States Marines. Over the past 3 months, we have tested each and every one of your Marines mentally, morally, and physically. They have proven their mettle here in events such as marksmanship, martial arts, water survival, and academics. Their rite of passage, the Crucible, a 54-hour test in selflessness, endurance, and teamwork. And throughout all of this training, they've come to understand and accept our core values: honor, courage, commitment. Now look, we recognize their journey to this day started long before they arrived here and stepped out onto those yellow footprints. The establishment of their character and values started with you, in your homes, in your schools, and in your communities. In fact, it was your encouragement that enabled them to complete their training. You know, we're counting on that continued support as they leave here and head off to school and eventually hit the fleet. So please join me in a round of applause for all that you, the friends, families, and communities have done to shape these Marines. We should also recognize the role of our Marine recruiters. You know, as a Marine recruiter, hardworking, dedicated professional in a hometown just like yours, who was among the first to recognize the potential in your Marine and offer them the challenge of becoming one of the few. Please join me in a round of applause for our Marine recruiters. All right, finally, folks, we must recognize the pivotal role of our Marine drill instructors. This highly professional group of young men have dedicated themselves to transforming raw recruits into Marines. They work countless hours, day in, day out, pouring every ounce of energy they have into educating, training, mentoring, and leading recruits. The impact of our drill instructors will be etched in the memories of your Marines forever. Please join me in a well-earned round of applause for our Marine drill instructors and the families that support them. All right, folks, if you'll excuse me just for a minute, I'd like to address our new Marines. Good morning, Marines.
Good morning, sir!
It's pretty awesome, huh? You trained well. Marines, you have accomplished much these past 12 weeks, and you have rightfully earned that title, United States Marine. Today is about you and your accomplishments. Be proud. Enjoy it. Because tomorrow it is no longer about you. It is about that Marine to your left and to your right. It is about the people in these stands. And it will be about the nation that you all have sworn to defend. Marines, serve with honor, serve with courage, and serve with commitment, and you will do well. Congratulations, Marines, and Semper Fidelis. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to present to you our nation's newest Marines.
Reviewing today's graduation ceremony is Sergeant Major James Futrell, United States Marine Corps, retired. He is being escorted by Sergeant Major Diabru, Sergeant Major, Recruit Training Regiment, Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Parris Island, South Carolina. Sergeant Major Futrell graduated from recruit training from Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Parris Island, South Carolina, in November of 1979. Following his training, he reported to 3rd Battalion, 6th Marine Regiment, 2nd Marine Division, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and served as an infantryman. In 1980, he was transferred to 3rd Marine Division, Okinawa, Japan, and was meritoriously promoted to the rank of corporal. In April of 1981, he was assigned to the Marine Barracks on the Naval Base, Norfolk, Virginia. While here, he served as a Marine security guard and was meritoriously promoted to the rank of sergeant. In August of 1983, he reported to the Red Eye and Stinger Gunner School at the Army Air Defense School in Fort Bliss, Texas. Subsequently, he assumed the duties as a section leader with 2nd Forward Altitude Air Defense Battery, Marine Corps Air Station, Cherry Point, North Carolina, and deployed to the Persian Gulf in Beirut, Lebanon, for 6 months. In December of 1984, Sergeant Major Futrell served as a recruiter and the staff non-commissioned officer in charge at Recruiting Station, Raleigh, North Carolina, 6th Marine Corps District. During his tour, he was meritoriously promoted to the rank of Staff Sergeant and received multiple awards for his outstanding work. In 1988, Sergeant Major Futrell served with the 1st Low Altitude Air Defense Battalion in Okinawa, Japan, and the 2nd Low Altitude Air Defense Battalion, Cherry Point, North Carolina. During this time, he served as a platoon sergeant, platoon commander, battery gunnery sergeant, training chief, and operations chief. In August of 1990, he deployed with the 4th Marine Expeditionary Brigade and participated in Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm. In March of 1993, he reported to Marine Corps Detachment, Fort Bliss, Texas, as a Stinger School instructor and the staff non-commissioned officer in charge. In October of 1994, he was selected to the rank of First Sergeant and was transferred to Company D, 1st Tank Battalion, 1st Marine Division, 29 Palms, California. In May of 1997, Sergeant Major Futrell was frocked to the rank of Sergeant Major and transferred to Recruiting Station, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. In August of 1999, he served as a Sergeant Major for Inspector Instructor Staff, 4th Maintenance Battalion, 4th Forest Service Support Group, Charlotte, North Carolina. In July of 2002, he was assigned as a Sergeant Major of the 4th Marine Corps District in New Cumberland, Pennsylvania. In April of 2004, he became the Marine Corps Recruiting Command Sergeant Major. On June of 2006, Sergeant Major Futrell reported as a Sergeant Major for Marine Corps Combat Development Command in Quantico, Virginia. During his tour, he also served as a Sergeant Major for the National Capital Region and the Marine Corps Forces Strategic Command, located in Omaha, Nebraska. On June of 2009, he assumed the duties as a Sergeant Major for the Marine Corps Forces Pacific. In June of 2012, Sergeant Major Futrell retired from the United States Marine Corps after 33 years of active duty service. Sergeant Major Futrell holds an Associates of General Studies, and a bachelor's degree of science in management. He currently serves as a management analyst for the Marine Corps' Manpower Affairs, Manpower Information System Division in Quantico, Virginia. Sergeant Major Futrell's personal awards include the Legion of Merit, the Meritorious Service Medal with 3 gold stars in lieu of 4th award, the Army Commendation Medal, the Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal with gold star in lieu of 2nd award, the Good Conduct Medal with a silver star and 3 bronze stars, the Military Outstanding Volunteer Service Medal, and the Combat Action Ribbon. The Commander of Troops, First Sergeant Kimbrell, and his staff. His company commander is Captain Skowicki. The Parris Island Marine Band, under the direction of Chief One Officer 2 GOE. The drum major is Master Sergeant Wilson, and the enlisted conductor is Staff Sergeant Moore. Staff Sergeant Small and the graduating Marines of the 2032 series. His series commander is Captain Eddington. The Honor Platoon for Company E is Platoon 2032. The senior drill instructor is Sergeant Nolly. He is assisted by drill instructors Sergeant Marcy, Sergeant Belmore, and Sergeant James. The senior drill instructor of Platoon 2033 is Staff Sergeant Will. He is assisted by drill instructors Staff Sergeant Burnside, Staff Sergeant Mendoza, Sergeant Orozco, and Sergeant Ahern. The senior drill instructor of Platoon 2034 is Staff Sergeant Meyer. He is assisted by drill instructors Staff Sergeant Mejias, Staff Sergeant Mormon, and Sergeant Adkins. Staff Sergeant Earp and the graduating Marines of the 2036 series. His series commander is Captain Milton. The senior drill instructor of Platoon 2036 is Staff Sergeant Claiborne. He is assisted by drill instructors Staff Sergeant Martinez, Sergeant Everhart, and Sergeant Brown. The senior drill instructor of Platoon 2037 is Staff Sergeant Bender. He is assisted by drill instructors Sergeant Miller, Sergeant Sanabria, Sergeant Ratcliffe, and Sergeant Delbeck. The senior drill instructor of Platoon 2038 is Staff Sergeant Linares. He is assisted by drill instructors Staff Sergeant Coyote, Sergeant Preacher, and Sergeant Valdez. Ladies and gentlemen, the company commander of Company E, Captain Skalicki. The new Marines carrying the platoon guidons have been selected as the honor graduates for their platoons. They will now retire their guidons.
Personnel to be awarded! Center! Out! Present! Guide us! Order! Guide us!
The platoon guidons that are about to be retired have been the identification flags of each platoon throughout recruit training. To each, the guidon is a symbol of spirit, dedication, teamwork, and unit identity.
Retire the guidon!
Lieutenant Colonel Danielson, the commanding officer of the 2nd Recruit Training Battalion, will present the High P of T and Honor Graduate Awards. He is accompanied by 1st Sergeant Keller, the 2nd Recruit Training Battalion Sergeant Major. We would like to thank the Marine Corps Association for providing the awards today. Please hold your applause until after all of the awards have been presented. The most physically fit Marine of Company E is Private Patrick of Platoon 2032. Private Patrick scored 597 points out of 600 possible points. The Company Honor Graduate for Company E is PFC Kirby. PFC Kirby is from Charleston, South Carolina, and was recruited by Sergeant McCran. The Honor Graduate for Platoon 2033 is PFC Funk. PFC Funk is from Jasper, Alabama, and was recruited by Gunnery Sergeant Fisher. The Honor Graduate for Platoon 2034 is PFC Rhodes. PFC Rhodes is from Bel Air, Maryland, and was recruited by Staff Sergeant Suwala. The Honor Graduate for Platoon 2036 is PFC Thornton. PFC Thornton is from Port Deposit, Maryland, and was recruited by Sergeant Preisendorfer. The Honor Graduate for Platoon 2037 is PFC Thomas. PFC Thomas is from Jamesport, New York, and was recruited by Sergeant Abad. The Honor Graduate for Platoon 2038 is PFC Caroli. PFC Caroli is from Millbrook, New York, and was recruited by Staff Sergeant Sutton. Marching onto the parade ground is a combat marksmanship instructor of Platoon 2036, the high shooter of Company E, with a score of 336 of 350 possible points, is Private Manasseh. Presenting the awards today is a combat marksmanship instructor whom is responsible for instilling the knowledge and proficiency of the company high shooter. He is Sergeant Chasen. Ladies and gentlemen, the distinguished graduates of Company E. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of Anchors Away, which represents the historic partnership and shared legacy of the United States Navy and the Marine Corps, followed by the Marines hymn and the final dismissal. Ladies and gentlemen, the First Sergeant of Company E, First Sergeant Kimball.
Senior drill instructors, dismiss your platoon.
The senior drill instructors will now dismiss their platoons. This is the last and probably the most welcome order the new Marines receive from their senior drill instructors.